Good evening, this is ENCA Moneyline, your money guide. My name is Duduzile Ramela in for Sikkim Gaba Daily this week. Coming up on the show tonight, South Africa's delegation to the World Economic Forum arrives in Davos, Switzerland. We're live there in just a few minutes with Sikkim Gaba Daily. More bad news for Sanral. Moody's has downgraded the roads agency's outlook from stable to negative. And the strike at Northam's Platinum mine in Limpopo is over. But first, here are your top stories. Moody's has downgraded Sanral's outlook from stable to negative. The ratings agency has cited Sanral's weaker than expected e-toll collection, resulting in decreased financial strength. Gauteng's e-tolled roads make up 15% of the total road network under the roads agency. Sanral says its non-toll portfolio, which covers 85% of the national road network, is still healthy. That portfolio is covered by funds from the national fiscus. It's an amount of 10 billion rand per year to manage the total national road network. Sanral's Chief Financial Officer Inga Mulder says she isn't surprised by the downgrade. The 6-day strike at Northam Platinum Zondereinde mine in Limpopo has ended. Employees will return to work tomorrow night. No members have agreed to abide by a memorandum between the union and mine management. Meanwhile, output activity in the mining sector is still flat. Stats SA reports mining production decreased by 0.4% year-on-year in November 2014. The biggest contributors to the negative growth were the platinum group metals, with negative 14.3%. The platinum industry endured a 5-month-long strike last year, and with a difficult recovery period also affecting growth in the manufacturing industry. World leaders, bankers and business people have descended on Davos in Switzerland as the World Economic Forum gets underway. Among them is President Jacob Zuma. This year's theme, the new global context, zooms in on youth unemployment and income inequality. And joining us from Davos, Switzerland this evening is Moneyline's Sikkim Gaba Daily. Siki, great to have you with us this evening. Just give us an overview of the opening ceremony, which we understand got underway today. Who did we see? What did we see?
Well, thank you very much, Dudu. That opening ceremony just coming to an end a few minutes ago. So behind me, and I'm sure you can hear the noise in the background, all the delegates who were able to attend at a cocktail reception right now. There was a welcome by the executive chairman and founder of the World Economic Forum, that is Klaus Schwab, who talked about the agenda for this annual meeting of the World Economic Forum, and then followed by the Crystal Awards, this annual award that are given to our people who do outstanding work around the globe. And it's interesting, this year was focused on work being done for women and young girls. The 3 winners, the first being Africa's own Angelique Kidjo, and she won for the work that she's been doing with women and girls. Andrea Bocelli, who also entertained the delegates here today, also won for some of the work that he's been doing. And he made the point that it's quite ironic that he's winning this kind of an award when there's so many women who are doing great work around the world. And the third recipient was Japanese architect Shigeru Ban, who said in his speech that he normally builds beautiful buildings for rich people, and what he'd like to do is actually to start building for the poor as well.
And Team South Africa is in Davos already. So what will South Africa's message be at this forum?
I think the big driving force, of course, is going to be the National Development Plan. It looks like that's going to be a selling point for South Africa. The government has already told us that the plan is now integrated into the different departments in South Africa's own budgets and all the plans that they have. So that's the big selling point. But I think the question for our delegates here in Davos is going to be around how the plan is going to deal with poverty and inequality. It sets some specific targets. It says that we want to grow the economy by 5% by 2019. That was announced by the President in his State of the Nation address last year. And South Africa also looking to attract foreign direct investment, particularly into infrastructure projects. And of course, due to energy is going to be a big one in those infrastructure projects.
Indeed. And Eskom has been quite a contentious issue in the country, and Trade and Industry Minister Rob Davies has been quoted as saying investors must factor in power cuts in the country. I mean, what are the implications of such a statement?
Well, I think the implications at the end of the day is that we've got to be realistic. I think the Minister of Trade and Industry had to be both pragmatic and realistic. You can't deny the crisis that is taking place at Eskom. And I suppose it is a pity to a certain extent that Eskom is not represented here for them to outline to those potential investors exactly what it is that they're doing. But I assume, of course, that they have briefed Team South Africa, who is here. But I think the message around South Africa, not just South Africa, in fact, just around the globe with people here, is that there's risk wherever you go. Europe right now trying to deal with risk, for example, around a potential terror attack. So wherever you go, it is about risk. The issue is, do you have a plan? Are you aware of what that risk is, and what are you going to do about it?
Indeed, Siki, thank you so much. That was Moneyline's Siki Mgabateli there in Davos, Switzerland. Right, let's take a quick look at what the South African delegation are focused on.
It's one of South Africa's main investor drawcards. But in recent years, the mining industry, plagued by instability, has attracted negative sentiment. A 5-month strike in the platinum sector, which crippled the industry and the economy, cast doubt on whether mining was still a viable option for potential stakeholders. The gold sector was not without its challenges, and a strike at Northam Platinum mine has just ended. As Team South Africa, led by President Jacob Zuma, hopes to beg more investment for the country, the embattled mining industry is likely to be a factor. More reason for the delegation to push harder in order to present South Africa as an appealing destination for foreign funds. South Africa will also punt its national development plan. With this, it aims to eliminate poverty and reduce inequality by 2030 in a country where many still live below the breadline. All these factors have staggered economic growth. The South African delegation will have to work hard to convince global players that this emerging economy will be a fruitful investment despite sluggish growth. Bongiwe Khumalo, Johannesburg.
After the break, we discuss the impending takeover of Neotel by cellular network giant Vodacom. You're watching ENCA Moneyline, your money guide.